Hello, everyone. We have the one and only Overcast, the lead developer and the creator, the originator for the Lustrous Spirit, the fan game that's been going around for a couple years now, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think it first build was about 2 years old now, so
hmm
that is true.
Do you want to go ahead and introduce a little bit of your background? I know you do more than just 3D models, correct?
Yeah, so um, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot more to game development than just the modeling, which is I know it's sad when I'm working on it for a while and all I have to show is some bug fixes, but um,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I do a lot of different things creatively, I guess, like modeling, illustration, whatever programming. But yeah, I just like making cool art, and I like to sort of see what the boundaries of like digital art, especially, is, and play with those. But yeah,
Oh, 100%. I think this was before you guys had a Mac build going. I think it was 2021. I don't remember the exact date, but my friend told me about it, and I was like, "Yo, can you download it and then stream it off of Discord so I can watch you play it?" And we were just running around trying to collect all the different memories. I don't think there were scenes in those memories yet back in those days. I don't know. I haven't touched the game since, but we'll definitely go more into how the game itself has changed over the years, but uh, it's great to see that it's still flourishing pretty well. The series has ended quite some months ago. I don't know what your entry was into the series. Did you watch the anime? Did you read the manga?
yeah, I've read the manga all the way through. I was keeping up with it for a while. Yeah, so the how I first got into Land of the Lustrous was like back in like 2018 or so. I didn't watch that much anime. I'd only seen like 4 or 5 shows. And
hmm
for some reason, YouTube just like kept recommending me the Land of the Lustrous opening. I'm like, why is this showing up? It's been like 2 weeks. It's just recommending it over and over. I'm like, fine, I'll check this out. I'm like, okay, it's decent. So I go watch the show, watch the first episode, and I was like, dang, that sucked. Because I think the first episode there was like an exposition dump, and I'm like, that's just bad writing. So I go
hmm
the next week. I go to school and talk to my friend about it, and he's watched more anime than me, so he says, no, you can't just drop it after any show after one episode. You have to watch 3 episodes. And so I go back and I watch a couple more episodes. I finish the show and I'm like, that was decent. And then I think the day after I was like bored and like depressed, and I'm like, oh, I need something to do. So I watched the show again. And then
hmm
I like the story really hit me, and that's kind of how I got into it.
That's awesome. I think I definitely heard about it back in 2018. I was in college and they had like some ad playing and it was just the gems running around. I was like, what the heck is this? Like, why would
Yeah.
anybody watch this? Because like my friend had told me about like Ruby, like RWBY, another series that was like had gems kind of, but it was like somewhat CG, and I just chalked them up as the same thing. So I just ignored it until 2020 is when I actually got into it. But I agree with you. It took me a while to get used to the CG. I think it took me like probably the end of episode 2 to like fully settle in, and then from there I couldn't even tell the difference for it.
Yeah. I think there's like I actually find most like a lot of my favorite pieces of media I didn't enjoy at first because they're just like so different. It takes a little bit to get used to them. Once you do
Mhm.
get like comfortable with them, you're like, whoa, this is like so different and cool.
Did you jump right into the manga after
Right.
rewatching, or?
Yeah, I think there was I mean it took me a few months to get into it. Like I think the most recent volumes were like volume 7 and 8 at the time, and so like
Mhm.
I bought volumes like 5 through 7 for like the Kindle and read through
Yep.
them, and then when 8 came out, I read that, and then at that point I just I found where the chapters were being uploaded online, and so
Yeah.
I would read each one as it came out and stuff.
And spoiler warning, 7 for those who end up somehow watching this like interview and haven't heard of Houseki no Kuni or haven't read past the anime. Around 7 or 8 is when Foss goes to the moon. So here's your spoiler warning. We might talk about other stuff that is spoiler related. So here's your one and only warning for it. But yeah, that's a One thing that I wish I'd gotten into the manga earlier, obviously like it's impossible to go back in time, but just like coming off of like the anime and then going straight to volume 7, 8 when Foss is literally like going through so many changes and environment changes is kind of crazy, and you got to experience that to some degree, which is awesome. Like that's like that's really really cool. It's like a very unique experience to have in the fandom for sure.
For longer than I've like been in the Land of the Lustrous fandom or like watch the show and stuff, I've like wanted to make games, and so the start of Lustrous Spirit, like the literal game project on my computer, was just my test world in Unreal Engine 4 because I wanted to learn to use the engine. So I made like a little grassy landscape. Actually, I can pull up some pictures of that.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
shared one on. Okay, so yeah, I found some of these ones in Discord, but
Oh, that's crazy.
yeah, this is like the earliest picture I have. So this is like my little plane in the void in Unreal 4 with like some materials and stuff.
Oh my goodness.
And then I think this is like a month later. I made a new world with like a landscape, and then this is like not even that much later. I actually sculpted like roughly the entire island, and it feels weird looking at this and being like, this was like 3 years ago, and the game, in some ways, I feel like the game doesn't even look that much different from this. I'm like, what have I been doing
I
all
guess
this time? But
fundamentally, right? But it looks way different from what you've showed off on Twitter.
the whole like I guess the driving force behind the game has been like just recreating the land of Land of the Lustrous, because it's always been sort of about like the idea behind recreating the land was so that it's really hard to tell where anything happens in Land of Lustrous because there's no like good map of it, and so
Yeah.
uh, it's not so much about progressing from like volume 1 to volume 2 type stuff. It's just the water looks nicer now because I noticed in the game the water did not look that nice, and the anime the water looks very nice, so I updated the water graphics.
You just updated it. Okay, awesome. I know
Yeah.
you did ask for like a map, or you were trying to figure out a map of the entire island. Let me see. I doubt you'll be able to see it on the camera, but if you
Oh yeah.
wiggle, but I think your map had it way more detailed than that, anyways.
Yeah. That's a pretty handy graphic. I actually did not know about that picture
I
until
will.
too late, and it's
I'll
oh
share
well,
this
yeah.
with you. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think someone shared that with me recently, also on Twitter, in
Oh,
response to that
awesome.
that map post.
So
I'm like, oh,
it's definitely
thanks.
coming from the box set. This is from volume 1 of the Japanese release. So
Oh,
it
okay.
comes with a little art book for it. Unfortunately, now that the series has ended, just everything price wise has skyrocketed on eBay. So unfortunately, the timing is not so great.
Big update. That's the one of the main things is just lots of like visual changes. I do have like the draft of the post, Twitter post, and let's see. I think the main things I say are like visual changes, new. There's like one-ish new key location, but like a lot of other parts of the island have just become more interesting in general.
Have you
Which
finished with the sculpting of the different like gems? I know that there were a couple that were left, like yellow diamond and a couple others. Have that been like the catalog for those finished, or are you still working on that?
um, that whole system hasn't received any changes in this update.
Okay.
To be honest, I'm not too sure what to do with it. Like obviously, it could use some like improvements polish wise, but like there's some bugs with it and uh,
Yeah.
other things. But yeah, maybe I'll improve it more the next update. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, again, no rush. Like the fact that there's even a system in place is like more than enough, you know? Like what was the thing that I guess a lot of people have been asking for just in general? I know one of the things you put a Q&A on your TikTok account about how people wanted multiplayer, and you were talking about how different that is from like just a single player like first person POV. Could you talk a little bit of like I guess the challenges to upgrading it into a multi. Again, like I don't know much about video games, but you're welcome to go as technical or as layman's terms as you would like for the explanation.
Right. Um, So yeah, multiplayer definitely would be awesome. There's two main challenges for making it multiplayer, which is a we need to give players avatars actual bodies because it's
Mm,
a first-person game. There's no actual bodies for the character, and
yeah.
b so like adding characters to a game is a huge it's a lot of work, and then adding multiplayer to a game is also a lot of work. And so those are like two big hurdles to get over. But yeah, I mean honestly, I would love to have a multiplayer Lustrous Spirit. That'd be awesome. I have some
Yeah.
ideas for what gameplay for that could look like, but
Mhm.
I'm also like a very pragmatic game developer, so I'm like I don't dream that big because I'm just like looking at the road of like what's ahead, because I feel like if you spend too much time thinking about the amazing things it could be, you'll get
Mhm.
really frustrated when you have to deal with like 20 hours of like bug fixing or something.
Yeah, no, fair, fair.
So,
That's
but
totally
yeah,
understandable.
I will say though, giving characters bodies, or at least like your character a body, is
Mhm.
probably one of the next things to happen, no matter what.
Nice.
Because like there's a lot of different game genres I could see Lustrous Spirit becoming, but
Mhm.
almost all of them involve having like would be improved by a character having a body.
Yeah, because right now, I think as you explained, you can only kind of really see like the nails, like the fingernails and whatnot, and the arms a little, but that's about it, right?
Yeah, you actually can't see anything. There's a
Oh,
zero
okay.
body. Yeah.
Well,
Guess one.
I'm looking forward to that eventually. I know people will start gravitating towards their favorite gem, or if you could even play as Congo in some reality. I guess you just is. I think Congo is taller than the others, so you would just be looking down from a higher point of view. But that would definitely be exciting. Yes, for sure. Speaking of like hurdles to get from like where the game is now to where it could be in the future, I know that we talked about a little bit earlier, maybe not earlier, but on transitioning between platforms, on how it was originally just on Windows and now it's compatible with Mac OS as well as Linux. Could you talk about just expanding it to other platforms, what you guys have done so far, and then I guess what the future is, potentially mobile or I guess Switch? I don't know if those are similar to each other, but what's next? Yeah.
Yeah. So platforms are interesting. Like okay, like it's easiest for like I'm building this on a Windows computer, so it's not too hard for me to do that. And you can make builds for Windows and Linux from a Windows computer. Mac
Hmm.
is a little annoying because you need to actually download the project on a Mac computer in order to compile a Mac build. So I'm
Mm,
trying to find someone who has a powerful enough Mac computer to run it in order to get a
yeah.
new build out for this update.
Hmm.
Um, and so for cross platforms like mobile, Switch, stuff like that, for mobile, once you start moving from mouse and keyboard to like touchscreen controls, you have to totally change, or you have to rethink how the controls of the game work.
Hmm.
It's not too like. Thankfully, Lustrous Spirit is a pretty simple game when it comes to controls. Like this isn't a MOBA or something where you have like a million different keys, and so
Abilities
you
or other things that you need to do. Yeah, fair. Like,
yeah. So it probably could be made mobile. Would just, but I don't have experience with mobile development, so need to
mhm.
figure out how to make it run performance wise. Which apparently Unreal games can actually be packaged for mobile and work
Nice,
decently, although it's not
nice.
like a huge thing.
Yeah. And I
Maybe
would
one
imagine
day.
that the graphics in general, if switching to something with a smaller screen, would just be downsized in a kind of way, or is that like thinking of the past? Because I know that that was like one of the hurdles for people shifting over to like the smaller screens. But
Yeah, that probably wouldn't need to change too much for Lustrous Spirit because it's like Lustrous Spirit is a very minimal UI game. You just need to make sure that the menus were readable on a small
mhm.
screen. But speaking of menus, like okay, the menus are like super programmer art, like outdated, and one of the team members is working on better UI, so we'd probably only consider that once the newer UI is actually in. Um,
Got it.
but yeah, but also for mobile and Switch, the one other issue is platforms. So like, how are you going to distribute the game? Because on PC or computers, you can just like upload it to itch.io and download it. But once you get to mobile, like you have to think like, am I distributing this on an app store,
Mm-hmm.
or like for Switch? I don't even know how you get things licensed for Switch.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair. Because you guys are like not for profit, it's kind of hard to try to get licensing, especially for Switch or getting yourself on the App Store. I would imagine that requires money, like of some sort.
Yeah, it probably. I think there's like a flat fee for like some platforms like Steam and the iOS App Store. You have to pay like $100 down, which like I'd be okay doing, but also at the same time, there's like there's this one YouTube channel which came out on a with a good video on the subject recently about
Mm-hmm.
like the legality of fan games, and like the closer you go to encroaching on potential space that like an IP can um, like use, like if for
Yeah,
some reason the licensors of Land of the Lustrous ever wanted to actually make a game or something, the fact that we've already published our game to official platforms and might be
yeah.
competing with this potential game is like, I don't want to get sued, basically.
No, no, totally understandable. Yeah. You were talking about other members of your team, and I know you have their links and everything on your card. Do you want to go over what everybody else is working on and how they contribute to the project?
Sure. Yeah, let me share screen. I have a actually not going to be using the card for that much longer because we realized like, hey, we can just have everything on the itch page. But
Mhm.
let's see, share. Okay. So here's like the draft of the itch new update itch page that I made earlier today. Um, but we have all the members here. Zoom in a little bit.
Mhm.
So yeah, I guess to start out, I've done like, I mean, I definitely do like a majority of the development for the game. So like I just put in programming, but I guess
Mhm.
like most notably, I do all the programming for the game, and like technical art and implementation, or a lot of implementation. So yeah, that's what I do. And then Goat Arena is a pretty awesome illustrator and designer. They've been doing basically, if something looks nice in the school,
Mhm.
that's probably due to Goat Arena, because I mostly deal with like the island and the gameplay, and Goat Arena's been doing like almost all of the school stuff. Um, so like totally remodeling the school, adding decoration. Um, yeah. Katija has been doing 3D modeling of some foliage and stuff, as well as she's the one managing the TikTok. So um,
Mhm.
is that. Yeah, she also made the flower beds in the school. It's
Nice.
pretty nice. Um, and then let's see, about half of the people on the team are people that I know IRL who are also game developers, and some of them I've like I basically asked if they want to help, and they said yes, but
Nice.
haven't done too much. So Avian Ben's just like a friend of mine, and I asked him to
Mhm.
join, but maybe one day he'll make like some concept models and stuff. We'll see.
Nice.
Uh, Vogue, I'm not too sure how to pronounce it, joined the team actually in the past month or two, and they've resculpted the Cape of Emptiness cliff, so it looks pretty nice now.
Nice.
Event Inkling or Chen has been working on some tutorial UI for like sculpting and stuff. Silmist is the one doing like the encyclopedia UI redesign, which has actually been pretty good work on so far, but it's not like finished yet or implemented, so maybe next
Mhm.
time. Um, and then Chord Shore has done a lot of the audio stuff. They've worked in like an engine actually implementing all the audio. So like when you go to one of the beaches and you hear wave sounds, or if you go to the windows and like you hear the whooshing of the wind, or like the underwater ambience or grass ambience and stuff like that, that's all Chord Shore's work.
That's awesome.
And then Calyx has also done some programming. I think very specifically, when you pick up a gem after carving it, it gives you some stats, which is very not well communicated in the game, but that is thanks to Calyx. So,
Awesome.
yeah, that's the gist of it.
And then for music, I don't know if I remember correctly. Were you guys
Oh yeah,
using the OSTs back then, like in the earlier builds, and now it's more like from the composer? Like, how do you go about, I guess, basing it off of the original OST, or are you trying to capture the feeling? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Right. Actually, yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. I totally accidentally skipped over Parm. Parm has been doing the music composing, so there's like three new tracks in the game, which Parm has made.
Nice.
And so he's been like listening to the soundtrack and been making some awesome songs for like a few different areas that are definitely like along the vibe of it. So yeah,
That's
this would
awesome.
be that your question is definitely something more to ask Parm because I that all goes on inside his head.
No, totally understandable. We'll see if we can play some of it when if you want to do a little bit of a demo later today. But thank you for the breakdown. I guess like more on your end. How much of your time, let's say like in a given day or maybe like in a given week, do you spend on the project itself?
Right.
If
So
you have to break it down into like, I guess a percentage or hours or whatever.
yeah, it's so I've been working on the project basically just in summers, and I spend a lot of time each summer working
Hmm.
on it. And then I've worked on it so much that I realize I need to do other things with my life or get burnt out, and then I spend 9 months going until the next cycle. But
Yeah. Fair.
yeah, when I am working on this stuff, though, I probably spend like 20, 30 hours a week
Mhm.
working on it. Like I definitely don't count my hours, but it is like I don't have to think about it that much. It is a very fun project to work on, and that's why I keep coming back to it.
And then I guess when does the small like 3 month window start? Is it like June to I guess like end of September? I know that bleeds into like school or whatnot, but I'm assuming like
Yeah. Well, for the past 2 years, I've been in college, so
Mhm.
it's basically it starts when my classes end, or like
Okay.
shortly after, and then um, it goes when I resume. Although now that I've graduated college, I'm not really sure what that's going to look like. So
No, fair.
we'll see.
I understand. Well, congrats on that. But yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
understandable. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
like I
guess
think I
it's a little bit
started.
more free time. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think this month or this time I started sometime in July, and now it's September, so maybe more 2-ish months. But
Hmm.
for what it's worth,
Yeah. That's awesome.
thank you.
All right. Um, let's see. Is there anything else that we can talk about before? Oh, yes. You have a lot of merch on Etsy and other stuff. Like I remember seeing the Oshinoko eyes on there and the Omega strikers. Those are really cool, and I like the almost like three dimensionality that you have in that merch because it's very interactive in that kind of way. Do you have any other merch planned or any plan for Houseki or for Land of the Illustrious in general, or would you just make like what's the process for that merch? Like what goes behind that?
All right. So yeah, merch is something that I started definitely more recently, like within the past year. And I appreciate that you noticed the three dimensionality of the merch. That's I like playing with the form of it a lot because I feel like a lot of people kind of upload PNGs and then
Yeah.
make it into merch. But I like looking through all the different merch options and seeing like what would work well for those.
No, 100%. I mean, I'm like the way that I buy merch, it's very like, oh, is it Hoseki or Land of Lustrous related? I'll support it, but I'm not like picky in that sort. So when I do see something really creative, like when it comes to merch in general, like not related to you, but like earlier today when I was on Twitter, I saw someone make like a rug for like an anime figure or like an anime that I liked, and I was like, oh, that's like really cool because you don't see that kind of merch normally. So the fact that like the way that you create it is different from just a normal acrylic stand or whatnot like is super cool. Like it's like it shows that you put at least a little bit more effort into designing the actual materials itself.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy you like that and notice it. But yeah, so I mean that's a blessing, but it's also kind of the reason why I haven't made as much Land of the Lustrous merch. I mean,
Mhm.
besides the fact that within the past year I haven't been like as into Land of the Lustrous as I used to be. Like, uh, but yeah, like there's that, and then also like there is so much good Land of the Lustrous merch out there that I'm like, okay, if I'm making something, it has to be unique. And there's already a lot of good, unique Land of Lustrous merch out there. I'm like, the people are cooking out there, so I'd have to really
No,
find something new to do.
hmm
But yeah, maybe one day it would be.
Nice.
Just a lot of the people that follow me on Twitter are Land of the Lustrous fans. I think that would make it easier to market than
Oh,
the other
100%.
items
Yeah,
I make.
100%. I read Oshinoko. I haven't watched the anime for. I think I've watched like the first episode of season one, but I haven't continued with it. So, um, yeah, I've been reading it, and I don't really play. Is Omega Strikers a fighting game, or am I just like not like categorizing that correctly? I don't recognize it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a MOBA air hockey. Basically, it's like
Hmm
3v3. You try to score your puck into the enemy's goal, but there's also an element of like KOing each other and stuff. So
Mm,
yeah, it's pretty fun. It's
nice.
I enjoy the aesthetics and gameplay and everything. So yeah,
Maybe I gotta check it out. So then, if I like it, I can buy your merch. You know, that gives me
yeah.
incentive for it, in a sense. Oh my goodness. I think that's all I had like before going into like some gameplay or something, whatever you want to show off for the project if you want to pull that up. One thing, if I do want to start off with, is the lens flares, or like the way that the lighting is in the game is just like is beautiful. Like one of the things that I noticed from the anime early on, especially in like the first couple of episodes, is the way that Studio Orange uses like the lens flare of the sun onto like the screen itself, and you've definitely captured that to some extent within the fan game at this point, especially when it comes to lighting. So like I love to pick your brain about all of that if you want to show it off.
Sure. Yeah. Um, let's see. Oh, I have to screen share first. Present.
And for anyone that is watching hasn't seen Overcast Twitter, they do plenty of breakdown on the game or just physics of like 3D modeling or just like movement of characters. I really like that thread you put up. I don't remember exactly when. I think it was pretty recent, on like the physics and movement of things. Really, really insightful.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'd like to do more of those too. Having like seen the show or the Land of Lustrous anime like 8 or 9 times, and then skim through
Yeah,
it many more to get reference. Like you start noticing all these like really weird things. So they're fun
yeah,
to talk
no,
about.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Um,
Right.
so yeah, you also mentioned the lens flares and stuff. I
Mhm.
appreciate that you enjoy the lens flares and the dirt mask on the camera and stuff. That's
Yeah,
actually I've done a lot with the lighting, but those two things specifically are actually built into the engine, and it does a really good job with those.
oh,
So
really? Okay. Well, at least it's being used to its fullest of potential. So, I'm not going to complain. Like, you're welcome to take credit for that.
yeah, I actually tried changing the lens flare texture and like the dirt mask texture. Dirt mask
Mhm,
basically being like when there's glare on your screen, it'll like highlight certain parts of it.
mhm.
Uh, it's a little hard to show off, but yeah, those textures were actually super nice by default, and I tried changing them, and it just made it look worse. So,
Oh, okay.
oh, shit.
Oh, the water looks so clean now.
Yeah,
Even the inside of the school, too, with the way all the lights fracking through. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. So this new furniture and stuff is some of the changes that Katarina made. Like they modeled these benches and stuff, and they look super
Mhm.
nice. Um, yeah, I've mostly been focusing on the outdoor decoration and things like that.
Yeah.
Um,
And when you click on the memories, do you see like the scenes playing? Is that like an old update, a recent update?
oh, like going to the menu and seeing them like this,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
this was when was this? I think this is probably the first build I put out had this because you couldn't really have the memories without having a map to view them. I think it
hmm
was like the first build I put out in 2022 was like memories, and then the one I put out in 2023 added the gemstones,
hmm
as well as or I think no, daylight cycle has always been there.
Yeah.
But then this update's mostly about like beautification, performance, quality of life. things like
Yeah,
that.
I saw you sculpting the hills and everything. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, the entirety of the landscape has been resculpted. Like this used to be a giant mountain that would like tower over the school, and now it's like, and now it has much more of the shape language of the actual hills you see in Land
mm.
of the Lustrous.
Oh, and that's where Yellow Diamond on the right. I noticed those trees.
Oh
That
yeah,
rain scene. Yeah.
yeah. That let's see. We can go find that location actually.
Yes.
It is over. Yeah, because I know what you're talking about. That is one of the memory locations. Yellow Diamond and Zircon patrolling in the forest during
Yeah.
sunset.
Oh, it's over there. There we go.
Let's get it to that time of day too. Yeah, I've probably spent like over a dozen hours like twirling knobs on the lighting and adjusting things. Like
Yeah, just so that's
the lighting and atmosphere has taken me so many hours to get looking like to the point where I'm satisfied with it.
which understandable because the anime kind of excels at that aspect of the series too. So
Okay. Okay, this is the memory. We'll play a clip from the anime. I don't know if we'll have to cut this out or not, but anyway.
yeah, we'll see when we get the cut. Oh, that's awesome. That's super cool. I think thankfully it didn't actually play the sound, so it works in our favor. But that's awesome.
Nice.
Is
Actually,
there
are you
something
hearing
where?
the game's
Oh, go ahead.
audio at all?
Okay. No, I don't hear it at all. No.
Okay. Maybe we should have that enabled. I don't know if that's like a screen share setting or something.
Maybe. Let me see.
Let me try resharing because there's some audio stuff that I think is worth sharing, even though the audio hasn't changed much since the last update. I think it
Mhm.
adds to the experience.
I remember there was a memory, I think at the top of the stairs inside the temple, if I remember that correctly. And definitely I would love to see the Cape of Emptiness for sure.
Yeah, sure. Okay, we can go to
Yeah,
those
like I
places.
vaguely remember my friend like going all the way up here and like there was a memory like floating up top. I don't know if I'm remembering it correctly, or it was like above the water.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. That one actually has been moved to a more reasonable location, but you
Okay,
used to
we tried.
have to.
Yeah, it used to be somewhere there. We tried reaching it, we could not. Like,
Yeah, that one I kind of put there for the memes because I thought it was fun to get on to this roof and jump over, but now it's just over
yeah.
here.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. Oh, roll in credits.
That's awesome. I mean, this like window is pretty iconic in the anime, so like you definitely captured it. Like, and then those are the individual rooms. Oh my goodness. Is there
Yeah, yeah.
any? I doubt there's like a guide or anything, but like let's say for that like the yellow scene with Zircon, is there like any setting like thing to make sure it's in the right time of day, or is it does it default to when you click on the memory, or is that something that the player has to manually set?
Oh, like, wait, so are you asking
Uh, to
whether
match the
certain.
mood of the memory, yeah.
Oh, sorry, you're cutting out a bit, so I'm having trouble understanding that
No
question.
worries. Like to match the mood of the memory that plays, does the time of day change, or does the user have to change that manually?
Oh, yeah, the time of day changes naturally. This is like, I have developer settings turned on, which this checkbox pauses the time of day, and you
Okay,
can adjust it with a slider.
got it.
Because it would take me a million years to test anything if that wasn't possible.
Fair,
Um,
fair.
but yeah, normally the day cycle is 15 minutes, and about like 40% of that is the daytime, 30%
Mhm.
is sunset, 30% is nighttime. So you have to be at the right location at the right time um, to
Got
like
it.
have the appropriate memory show
For
up.
that memory to even pop up. Okay, awesome. And how many
Yeah,
total
so
memories are there? 63, I think was what was shown on the map. Is that correct?
Sorry, the first part cut out. What was shown
Yeah,
on the map?
how many memories are there total?
Yeah, so these are the ones you've collected. So we can just got the one at the school as well as the yellow Zircon Patrol one over there. So you can see
Got
it's like day memory, sunset memory.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah, and for the record, if anyone is watching this trying to complete the game, there are 28 day memories, 23 sunset, and 13 night memories. That fact has helped me a lot as I've played through the game. Yeah. Also, I forgot to put grass on the Cape of Emptiness, so it looks kind of barren.
Well,
You
I
roll with
mean,
it.
I think it kind of fits with the theme because Mercury comes in here and kind of destroys everything. So I think it
True.
works to your favor that it's still growing, right? That's the intentionality behind
Of course, it is simply
it.
because I am an artiste and I have done this for the narrative. Yeah, but yeah, back to the memory thing. You can see once we turn it to sunset, like these sunset
Oh,
memories have appeared, and
that's
turning
awesome.
it to night, these ones fade out, and new ones should have faded in. But sometimes when okay, it is here. This is one last change that I have to fix before the build is out. Is the brightness is kind of weird during the sunset and night at times.
Mhm.
Uh,
How many moons do you have up at night? I see one,
two.
two.
Let's see how many. Okay, there are. We can only see two of them at the moment. They do slowly move,
Mm-hmm.
but there are six total.
Just somewhere in there. Got it.
Yeah, they're probably just like down there or whatever.
Yeah. Just depending on the day.
Yeah. Ooh, what's that?
Is there any future of being able to go to the moon or having like the black spots or the Lunarian spots show up on the sky?
Yeah, those are both cool ideas. Right now, it's like, okay, if the second season ever comes out and they do have the moon, totally making that because that,
Okay.
I mean, that'll of course be a great reference.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to the moon isn't the highest priority thing right now for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Just let me change the FPS. I feel like my game is getting, my computer is getting really warm.
I
But
think
yeah,
it's 'cause you're screen sharing it too, right? Like I'm sure that plays a factor in it.
yeah. But yeah, Lunarians appearing in the sky is definitely more feasible, but that also begs the question of like, okay, the Lunarians have appeared. What now? Do you fight them? Do they just appear and look
Oh
cool, or
Or do
like,
they just show up and just watch you? Like,
yeah, what is the? Have to figure out what the gameplay significance of them is as well.
Mhm.
Uh,
I love how the memories kind of look like Gaia at nighttime when that one scene where they're sparkling a lot. So super cool
yeah,
attention to detail there.
it's funny you bring that up because I believe this memory is actually that exact scene right here.
No way it is.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go.
That's super cool. And
But
then
yeah,
when it comes to the OSTs that the composer has put out, is it like based on the region that you're in within the island, or is it based on time of day, or is it both, or how is it played about?
yeah. It's right now. It's just based on region. So there are five or four regions actually that have different like songs associated with them, and there's just like
Hmm.
basically a big invisible volume that when the player steps into them, if they haven't heard a song recently, it will play said song.
Okay.
Um, and so those are the school. There's a big area around the Cape of Emptiness that extends
Hmm.
to like some of these turn beaches. Um, there's big sections of underwater that play the anime's like underwater thing, and then the chord shore also has a like volley or music associated with it.
Nice.
I'm gonna turn it off nighttime because the random brightness changes are annoying.
Mhm. That's super
But
cool.
yeah,
And then
I
I
don't
would
know.
say, I guess focusing on like updates for the island would like weather or rain or snow ever be a part of it?
Yeah, actually, ideally, rain would have been in this update, and I spent about 20 hours trying to get weather to work,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, about 10 of those hours were spent making the updating my atrocious sky sphere shader code and getting it to work a lot better and also look nicer. And the other 10 hours were spent planning and failing to implement nice looking weather. So
Oh no, it's
after
okay.
spending a certain amount of time, I had to just weigh my options and be like, it's not worth spending another 10 or if not more hours making just rain look nice.
Yeah,
Um,
fair.
but if I do, maybe in the future, I will come back to the whole weather thing and make that nicer.
That's awesome. Going back to the, you don't need to go to nighttime, but for the moons, are they set to one phase of the moon, or do they cycle through? Oh yeah, I actually do see the moon in the background right there. Is it set to like that half moon, or does it transition as it does? Because I know you said it moves throughout the sky.
Right. So the way I've set it up, I didn't spend that long setting it up, and it's kind of jank. Basically, the further the face of the moon is based on the angle between the sun and the moon, like how it should probably
Mm.
be. However, the moons are sometimes rotated wrong ways. Uh, it was a really weird problem, which I only half solved, but the moons do appear at different phases. And I figure players will hopefully not notice the fact that
I
the
think
moons don't
that's
fade properly.
okay, especially because like this is something that I like highlighted. Like Ichikawa kind of like just picks the phases that she wants to do when it has relevance. So like that's totally fine. Like they don't. I
Yeah.
don't think there's a way, especially for the manga. I haven't looked that closely on the moon phases for the anime. You've definitely rewatched the anime way more than I have, so you might have more input. But like for the manga, it's like there's 6 moons. They can kind of all be different phases if they want to. She just kind of picks and chooses based on what she feels like it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Never noticed that before. It's a good
Mm-hmm.
point. But yeah, what you're saying of uh the Ichikawa or the creators of the anime, see that they do that annoying thing where they make decisions based on how nice something looks artistically. So when you
Yeah,
try to actually go and model it in a game that's real time and has to
doesn't
feel
work.
real, that makes it really hard.
Yeah,
So when you're far away from Grassland Land of the Lustrous anime, it's it's painted. It's like a very nice plein air gouache painting. And when you get up
yeah.
close, it's a 3D model, and that's not
Mhm.
like how do you do that? So
That's impossible to do. Yeah, yeah, totally understandable.
well,
I mean, they had the background artist that worked on like Ghibli films to do like some of the work on there. So that's why there's like such a disconnect. But that disconnect works for the anime. It's just yeah, I wouldn't imagine how it would be even be implemented accurately like within the game.
yeah, you can see some examples of it with the foliage though. That was I spent a couple of weeks working on the foliage,
Hmm.
and that's a sort of big tech breakthrough that I had was the foliage models actually do switch between model and painting based on distance. So you can see
Hmm.
if we look at this bush, let me run away a little faster.
Oh, it kind of feels like it's just part of the background at a certain point. Oh
Yeah,
wait, I did see that switch.
yeah. So you can see because they always when they in the anime when the bushes are far away, it's basically it's painted. It's got a very clear silhouette and shape and
Mhm.
stuff. But when you get closer, it's modeled. So
Nice.
model and then little bushy silhouette.
That's awesome. That must have taken a lot of work.
Yeah, it took a little bit to figure out that transition, but now I actually have a pretty good pipeline for creating these type of foliage assets. So it happens with the tall grass too. You can
Hmm.
see sprite and model or model.
Oh, that's awesome. So when that transition happens, is it like from like bottom to top, or like or is it just like
It's just based on view distance. It's kind of like if you're doing video editing and you're trying to cross dissolve from one clip to another. It's uh, when you get closer, the sprite of the grass stays opaque and
Mhm.
slowly becomes less transparent as the
as you
foreground one
get
just
closer
fades
and
in.
closer? Got it. Got it. Got it. That's actually a really good example. I could relate to that. So thank you.
Yes, I'm so happy to show these things off because I'm worried people will play this new update and be like, "Not that much has changed." And I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
I spent 20 hours making that piece of grass right there."
No, totally understandable. And like it's been a while since I haven't actually played it, and I think I'll be able to because what I'm using right now that I switched, I was on my iPad, so I'm on my brother's like old gaming laptop, and it's Windows, so I should be able to download it and actually play it. So I will definitely try it probably when I get off work later this week. When is the 9th? Let me check my calendar. Is that a Monday?
Yeah, it's gonna release on a Monday, but yeah, I hope you enjoy it while playing it.
Yes.
If your device does not run it very well, know that there are graphic settings for this purpose.
Don't worry, I'll put it on the lowest setting. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll make sure it runs. Yeah, I can definitely probably play it this week. I'll find a day. I'll try to stream it on Twitch or something.
Yeah.
Actually, have you seen some of the gameplay videos that people have made on YouTube?
Oh, like of this game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen a few of them. I watched like Reza Creator's video. Actually,
Yeah,
while they were streaming, I was popped in for a little bit. I don't know if they noticed,
that's
but
awesome.
it makes me happy to see people play it. And also, like, actually, that's one other thing. So, coming with this new update, besides the thing, I'm also going to put out a link to a small Discord server just because, like, I feel very out of touch with the people who are actually playing this game. So, hopefully, that will be
Did you
like
get like
a
some
place.
more immediate feedback in a kind of way?
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, while we're here, we should go underwater because that was
Yes.
a decent change. Just show
And it
it
looks
off.
like there's more than 4 regions on the map, right? Or on your like the fast travel that you have for the developer.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is some of them are just like there's kind of ways to get around. Like the beach just takes you right over here to the main beach. Northern Mountain puts you like over here. A
Yeah.
couple teleports in the school. Cape of Emptiness, Court Shore, and then Sandspit just puts you like I don't know over here.
Okay, just on the other end of it. Got it.
Yeah. There is one new interesting location underwater, but I think it'd be more fun if people saw it themselves and were surprised. But
Yeah.
you can
Totally
take a look at.
understand. I can feel the gravity difference when you're in water, like the buoyancy almost. A little bounce to it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, and I see the little bubbles too. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, one of the
character can't really die, so you know,
yeah.
there's no worry there.
Maybe one day. But yeah, one of the big things that actually makes this water feel a lot nicer is there's basically these big like clouds of dust that are always moving around in the distance, and the default fog underwater just never really felt like the water had enough like presence to it. But like after adding, like you can't even see them; they're that subtle. But like it just feels like the water is moving around now that they're these big like clouds. Yeah, sorry, I'm such a nerd for like this environmental art stuff.
No,
But,
like, please speak on it. I'm sure people that will watch this will also love it. So like the more details that you can provide that people might not be able to find on their own, I wouldn't be able to find. Other people probably would be able to find it, but I think like I barely play video games. I think the last like video game that I went underwater would be like Subnautica, but I played that like over 10 years ago, and I got too scared to continue it because I was like a kid. So like,
yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, yeah, I do plan to write some like articles. Like you're talking about the physics thing, and
yes.
how it'd be cool to have more of those.
Oh, 100%.
Like I'd like to write more technical ones on the game development side, even more specifically for this. but also like there are like there's so many ways that this game could go in terms of genre and stuff, and people have like theory crafted all kinds of like or not theory crafted, but like had ideas for all kinds of games that could be set in the Lands of Lustrous world. So I almost feel like maybe it's good if Lustrous Spirit is sort of like a base game, and like eventually, make the code for this game public and
people
let
could run
people,
wild with whatever they want.
yeah,
That
because
was
like
pretty cool.
some people want story games, some people want to like fight the Lunarians, some people want this or that. But like, if everyone could start from just like the land of the lustrous island, like that's what.
Relive it. I would almost treat it as like I wouldn't call it like a museum, but like a collection of memories would probably be like the best way to like. You can re-experience basically almost all of season 1 here. You can go to your favorite spots, and then from there you can choose to do what you want with it. Whether you want it in the form of like exploration or the form of like, oh, you're just gonna like follow the story, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Because I would feel like the story itself like was very like, I guess, like action and battle heavy, and then it transitions to something else, right? So like the source itself has a lot of different like options out there, and that's why people have a lot of ideas for what they want out of it.
Yeah, it's very like open-ended. There's a lot you can do with it.
100%. Yeah, I haven't touched the series in a couple months since it ended in April, so it feels good to like come back to it, like look at it in a little bit. I know the anniversary for the series is coming up in October, so I guess technically both the anime and the manga, because the anime came out October 7th, I believe, and the manga came out October 25th or 24th. So I've been getting myself back into the mindset of looking at the series again.
Nice, that's awesome.
Like, I know you mentioned like you don't like the series as much now as you once did, and I definitely have that same sentiment, especially as like people that have like obsessed about the series in some way, shape, or form. Um, I definitely understand to some extent what you meant by that.
Yeah, even though, I'm with you there. Like, even though personally I don't like resonate with the story as much, I still, every time I look at the anime and manga, I'm like, this art is so nice. Like,
Yeah,
I still feel like there's so much to learn from the
100%.
visuals and like aesthetics or whatever.
100%. Because it's definitely unique, no matter what it does, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Are those some of the gems on display, the ones that you sculpt yourself, or?
Yeah, these ones, yeah, I haven't actually carved these ones into any kind of shape. But yeah, they are. You can place them around.
Nice. And is that throughout the temple or throughout the school, or is it just here, like the little stands?
Yeah, so it is. There's like these little stands throughout the school in different areas. I don't think there's any on the fifth floor, but yeah, the idea is you can just like you can collect them.
Walk around
Basically,
and yeah.
a majority of the gameplay so far of the little gameplay there is just like collecting things. You collect memories, you collect gems. It's kind of chill.
That's awesome. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to playing this this coming week for sure.
Yeah.
I know there's probably no way of you to predict when the next update would be, because obviously this takes a long time, and especially since your schedule is going to potentially change a lot. There's probably no way to like give an accurate estimate for it, right?
Yeah. Honestly, it would be cool to have to like not have to wait another year for another update. But we'll see. It really depends on like I have no idea what the scope of the next update is going to be. And like, okay, one thing I will say is that like recently, a few of the people on the team have been quite interested in like getting back to working on the game. So like the composer, has recently been like updating the school soundtrack, and Godarine has been doing a lot of modeling, and like Katisho expressed interest in continuing, as well as the new team member, Rouge. So I'm like, okay, we have a lot of people who are like sort of interested right now, so maybe we shouldn't like push off development all the way till next summer. So we'll see.
I mean, that's awesome that like just the shape of the team itself is like almost changing the way that the project is going, which is great.
Yeah. I definitely would like for this to be like a cool and collaborative project, because I feel like I don't want to just like impose my ideas and only my ideas on what the game should be, when like Night of Lustrous is a very, there's a lot of takes you can have on it.
But it's definitely important to have like just an overarching vision, right? And I think you've done a great job of like doing this for the past couple of years, of like making the changes as you need, and like improving just like the island itself. I think like from what I vaguely remember, almost 2 years ago to what it is now is like such a huge difference, even though it looks roughly the same. Obviously it's not, and like the amount of hours that you and the team have put in like definitely shows.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you would like to discuss? I think I'm all done with the questions that I had. I don't think any of them have gone unanswered.
Right. Don't think so. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of just hoping that like there's like, I mean, I've been in a lot of like dead or dying fandoms before, for like things where I'm like, oh, I still like the media, but there's not that
Yeah.
many people who still engage with it. So I just hope that like this game can help, keep like the Land of the Lustrous community alive, and like maybe there'll be their own, like its own community around the game, because I don't know, now that the manga has ended, and like relatively recently too. I'm worried that like that will be the that will like cause the community to decline, but I feel like
No, 100%.
there isn't anything quite like Land of the Lustrous out there. So I'm
And
hoping
it's
we
one of
can keep.
those like from it's going to be a long wait for season 2. Like very, if it ever will happen, it'll be very long. I was at some anime conventions these past like in August, one in DC and one in New York, and I was at the Studio Orange panels, and things aren't looking so bright for for the anime. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So I would say anything that keeps people interested in the fandom in any kind of way is more than enough. Like I would say, like, I guess from like the YouTube standpoint, like a lot of the views that I've been getting on my channel are from like videos over 6 months ago that people are watching now. So clearly people still like are looking up Houseki no Kuni, Land of the Lustrous. So like there's still interest. Obviously nowhere near the same interest of like, let's say like in 2022 when the manga first came back versus like when it's ending. But interest is still there, and hopefully we can definitely carry that interest for however long that's possible until the next thing, whether it's 2030 we get season 2's anime, or whenever that is, like no promises, but that's awesome. Well, where can we find you? I think Twitter, TikTok. You guys can just look up Overcast or look up Lustrous Spirit. Is that correct? I think that's the app for the TikTok.
Yeah, I've actually lost the login to my personal one, so definitely follow the Lustrous Spirit one instead.
Is there anywhere else that we can find you?
Yeah, but you mentioned Twitter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, that's definitely the main place that you can find me,
I
I
think you
think.
also have a Blue Sky account as well. Although, like, I have one too, but I haven't looked at that account for like, I don't know, like 6 months, give or take.
Yeah,
No matter
pretty
how
much.
much Twitter has gone down, it's still where I find the artists and creators that I care about. They're still on Twitter, so I'm gonna stay on Twitter. It's one of those. Whenever they decide to leave, I'll also leave. But for the time being.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe one day I'll make the full switch to another platform, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, then that's it for today. If you guys end up playing the game Lustrous Spirit, let us know, especially Overcast in those two, Twitter or TikTok. Obviously, you can let me know in the comments, and you can find me on Twitch sometime this week. Probably, I will try playing it. I'll try playing it.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been super great talking with you, Shamu. Yeah, very happy to talk about it.
I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing all the insights. I appreciate it. Over.
Yeah.